we got planned. Can you hear me, Wayne?
I can hear you now. At
Can you hear
first, I
me now?
couldn't.
Yeah, little technical difficulties, which is crazy because when I did all the pre stuff, it was good. But anyway, great conversation we got planned today, man. Uh, with sports talk, it's been a lot going on. Definitely in Dallas Cowboy land. We're both excited. Important region.
Some more than
It's been
others.
a lot of conversation going on for a team that does. Yeah, for a team that don't play football until September, and that's where I'm at. That's the time I'm on. Dwayne is on a different time, which is
Whole
always
different
good
time.
because we can have a good disagreement and be adamant about our disagreement because it's real. It's real. We both feel the same way about our disagreements and why we feel the way we feel, and we ain't budging. We ain't budging. It's really interesting. And if you look at the title of the show, Hopamine has arrived. Hopamine has arrived. The Cowboys defense built different or overhyped. Uh, I have to say this, and I have to continue to preach this. I really think that people, media, people on the team. I love their content, but I think they're going too far. They're getting the fan base riled up for what I believe is going to continue to let this organization, based on their 30-year run that they're on, is going to continue to let the people down. I'm very pessimistic about everything that's going on. Dwayne has been very optimistic, excited, rejuvenated as a Cowboy fan, I would say. And really, what I think sparked his confirmation was this beautiful thing inside the draft thing they did. And it basically gave him more concrete evidence that Steven is doing what Steven does, and Steven runs this damn team, and the team is headed in the right direction. As long as Jerry, let's be honest, for most fans, as long as Jerry don't mess it up and let Steven cook and let Steven get and Steven will and the rest of the staff to cook and can they continue to support the coaching staff and all this and all that. So, Wayne, what's up, bro?
Yeah, that's a part of my optimism. Going into it, looking at the end of last year, we knew what the problem was, right? The defensive tackle group was the only group that you could depend on. And so I wanted them to build around that. Did I want them to trade one of my favorite Cowboys? No, I did not want them to trade Osa, but I get it. I get why they had to do it. There was so much money tied into the defensive tackles, right? So, excuse me. My excitement is twofold. And I'm sorry, I got to take a little drink, but I'm going to hide what it is. Excuse me. My excitement is twofold. One is they spent this off season fixing the defense, in my opinion. And two, it's the players that they added. In conversations with Quentin before the draft, when we went in the offseason, I mentioned that I wanted Rashawn Gary. Check. I mentioned that I wanted Caleb Downs somehow, some way to fall to us. Check. Right?
Something even on draft night you still cannot blink out.
Yeah. And they drafted two players. One of the trademarks that you'll see often when we do shows, I'm going to have my plaid Michigan Wolverines hat on. So a lot of Dallas content creators, a lot of fans seem to have something against Michigan players because of Mozzie and Luke. That's fine. But one of the players that you guys love, Jerry Jones, a lot of you content creators and all that, one of the players he's pining for that he let go is a Michigan Wolverine called Jordan Lewis. And he went into the offseason saying it was one of their biggest regrets, biggest mistakes, letting him go to Jacksonville. And they think they fixed that with Caleb Downs. So I say all that to say, to add Barham, I'm ecstatic. And then there's a player. There's a player that when Quentin Ford asked me to do my top 50, I did it before the season of college, and I did it at the end, and I had LT Overton in my top 50 consistently because there's this thing out here now, and I only know Cowboy Land, and it may be other places, that everybody wants an edge to be an edge rusher. Like defensive end, got to be able to rush the passer, got to be able to rush the passer. No, we need defensive ends that can stop the run. I won't mention the other player who was terrible against stopping the run, but could get after the quarterback. I get it. And when you look at the makeup of this team, when you look at the defense that they're building, I'm just going to say the Dallas defense. I'm not going to say it's anybody else's defense but Dallas defense. I can't call it the Christian Parker defense till I see him at least call a defensive play in preseason. But I like his thoughts. I like his system. I like the type of players he in. So I got a lot of Hopamine, but there are some draft picks I question. I am not a Malachi Lawrence fan. Not. That's just me. I thought we would have been better going with Keldrick Faulk.
I'm not laughing because of the Malachi Lawrence. I'm laughing because I know that you hate this word when you talk about hope in sports. Mm-hmm. And for you to regurgitate the word that I chose for the show, Hopamine, made me laugh. Like, yeah, I got a lot of Hopamine in me.
Yeah. But it sounds good. You know, it sounds good. They did what I wanted. I'm not sold on the two offensive players that they picked up in the draft. I'm not. I watched Shelton his whole career. I'm a Michigan fan, and I'm a fan of the Big Ten. So I watched a lot of Penn State, and I think they reached where they drafted him at. I think there's other offensive linemen that could do what he does and could have done it later. So, but hey, you have what? How many fourth-round picks you had? You had like 3. So you could play around a little bit on a player that you may see long-term potential with. I do not think he's starting over Guyton. I think we got to start putting a little bit more respect on Guyton's name. I think from his rookie year to last year, there was improvement that you could believe in. And, you know, you got Still re-signed for Still, pun intended. And so I think he could be a solid right tackle. And I think with GP signed, man, he signed a franchise tag. So he locked in at the 27.5, you know. So defense. And that's what we're talking about. And one other controversy that's been talked about, they done got his family involved in it. Yo, Kobe Durant, run that jersey, bro. Just run it to make this stuff go away. Run the jersey, man. Just run it.
And I'm glad that you ended with that, which is interesting because you got me on the edge of my seat. I'm fired up to refute everything you just said. But really, it's not really a refuting towards you. And let me explain. It's refuting towards the narrative of this hype train. The train initially, when it left the station with Evilfuss. Yo, we'll put your bags and your shit in the office and we'll put it in boxes and we'll forward it to give us a forwarding address. We don't even want you to come back to the facility. We got rid of a coach who majority of Cowboy fans liked Evilfuss before he came. And what he did with the personnel that he had, it went to shit. So let's talk about the coaching hiring process. Jim Leonard appeared to be this front runner coach, innovative, this, that, and the third. So the train is leaving the station. The train is hyped. It's picking up steam. Then it was the Gannon thing. Jonathan Gannon. Getting Jonathan Gannon. Oh, he looked strange during interviews, his eyes and all this weird stuff. Oh, now we decide to interview a young understudy of the Vic Fangio defense, a Christian Parker, which, if you all know who Vic Fangio is, most people just think Vic Fangio is this coach that came in the last 15 years with Chicago, with Denver. Vic Fangio was coaching the defense on the Saints when they had the 4 great linebackers in the 80s. He was the coach. This man is a coach of savant. But anyway, so we hired Christian Parker, and all the reports, young, innovative, good. And I respect that we went outside the box, outside the norm. A lot of people even went to the point of Jerry and them really hired a black defensive coordinator full time? Okay. So now
They've had one in the past.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people forget about him. The Stewart, he was the DC for the Cowboys. And if we're being honest, Joe Witt Jr. had the defensive coordinator title as well
yeah.
under Dan Quinn. So they did have a couple of blacks before, but this is the first time they're given the reins because Wade Phillips was telling Stewart what to do. DQ was telling Joe Witt Jr. what to do. This is the first time that we're handing the reins over to a 34, will be 35 during the season, young, wears his J's, got a sneaker collection of over 500 pairs strong, wearing the glasses and wearing the drip. So, and he put a lot of young people around him, African American, but young people around him. So we got pass rush specialists now. We got DBs that's specific for safeties and corners and all that good stuff. So Hopamine, I'm on the hope train.
So
but I'm not
Wayne,
calling them yet. I got to see who CP is until he calls at least one play. Like I'm seeing online where people is crowning this guy already.
So in that
this real quick too, because we do this, not just our fan base, but all fan bases, right? Going into the draft, and if you saw our shorts or whatever we had, you know, my super producer, my brother, he put up a short where I went on and on about Caleb Downs. And I think, bar none, Caleb Downs was the best player in the draft, and we got him at 11 for 2 5th-rounders that we turned around to 2 4th-rounders eventually, right? You will never in your lifetime, in my lifetime, hear me call a prospect that never played a down in the NFL a gold jacket worthy prospect. Can he just be a starter?
See, and this is what I mean, you know, and it goes back to something I'm gonna say towards the end of the show of what we do and why we do it. And I know a lot of times we want to do more shows. We do have a little bit more time during this time of the year, even though our time is about to change a little bit in the 22nd of May. That's on something else. But so Dwayne, we get this young innovator coach, right? So now you hear all these people talking about this man and what he's going to do, the Fangio scheme. And I have to give one shout out to one person, man, who's been on it since day one and knew what they was talking about, and that is John Owning. Mm-hmm. John Owning has came on, and in my opinion, has given the fan base and media a master class on the type of defense that this man would like to run. It's a 3-4.
How this man don't have a job right now is a travesty of justice.
Yeah.
John, you are the best, sir. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but between John Owning and Dane Brugler, man, some other ones. I love Nick Harris too. Zach Wolchek is pretty good. You know, the 3 content creators that I pay the most attention to is still Foots the King, Skywalker Still, and Vach. Vach changing a little bit on me, but I still love him.
So John Owning came on. He's been giving people a master class. So now we've done this. Now you told me, you said Q, the type of safety I like is the kid Thompson. You nailed it. I mean, bro, I always say to people, yo, if I need to know about a college player, I watch college football, but no, with all due respect, Dwayne lives college football. Lives high school football in the New Jersey, in the DMV area, right? So you say Thompson. Thompson will be the one, Q. Thompson could do it all. He's multiple. Basically, when you watch him, because he's so good, he allowed Buda Baker to do what he does. Okay, now we on it, right? So then, like you said, Rashawn Gary, the Cowboys start getting the pieces. They basically, from your perspective, has knocked it out the park in their offseason. I get all that.
I'm not a Malachi.
So the Cowboys
clip this receipt, and I hope y'all put it back out there during the season. and make me look like a fool. I don't see it at Malachi Lawrence. Nothing against the kid. Seems like a great kid. This is not personal. This is on the football field. I think he's a one-dimensional talent. But he was rushing. He wasn't rushing against Lane Johnson. He wasn't rushing against Andrew Thomas. He wasn't rushing against who the best lineman for the Commanders. He wasn't rushing against him. Who's it, Tunsil? I could be wrong on that. I'm a Cowboys fan. But I'm just saying. So we'll see. He was at UCF. We'll see.
So they people start to understand after Christian Parker does these great interviews, right? Great interview, not the part where you can hear in Christian Parker's interviews, it's not what I call coaching talk. And what I mean, I have a thing that's called coaching talk that they say every the right thing. If you hear what Christian Parker is saying, he's trying to teach the media what he teaches to the players. His defense, understand the role, 4-eye. This word 4-eye in Cowboy land as the end, the 4-eye end, is going to be the word of the day. Now we know what the 4-eye is, right? So they draft this player who I have seen a lot of players get drafted that are hyped up. I've seen the best player who I believe in the NFL, hands down, I believe Myles Garrett. I knew it was some hype around Myles Garrett, but you still had ex-pass rushers when they would talk about Myles Garrett would say, oh, he might struggle against the run. Well, Myles Garrett is the best player in the NFL right now. And I'm probably including quarterbacks, right? The Cowboys draft a kid, a young man, who comes from a lineage of exceptionally bright athletes and people, who played for two coordinators who have the most complex defenses. When I mean Caleb Downs is probably for the Dallas Cowboys.
Played for three coordinators, though. Three darn good.
Yeah, three different coordinators. When you think about pick, and you think about team,
fit,
and you think about fit, the Cowboys probably have drafted. This is probably the greatest Cowboy pick with coordinator, vision, fit, and player that we've ever seen, right? And I don't think I'm being hyped there because I'm the pessimistic guy. Yeah, I'm the pessimistic.
We drafted the perfect person for our organization.
Yeah. So
both on the field and off the field.
So my thing.
So the Hopamine train for me, man, it already left the station, and I ain't getting off till it gets to the end of it. Till it gets to the end of it. Do you hear me? I am a man, and I'm gonna let Quentin get back to his thought, but I want y'all to know something about me. I'm a man, me, Quentin, and another good friend of ours, Mr. Walker, we watch the Cowboys together from three different locations on the phone, nonstop. We even talked through halftime, right? For the first time in us doing this, and we've done this for 6 football seasons. We're coming up on our 7th football season of doing this. For the first time last year, I bailed on my 2 friends and brothers. I refused to watch a down of the Cowboys defense. I would turn the channel and let them tell me what was going on because that was a mess. Okay? So y'all pining and who won this, who won that Micah Parsons, he's gone. Who cares about him? Congratulations. We see you in Dallas in the offseason because you love Dallas, right? Enjoy Green Bay. Why are we still talking about this man? Let it go.
Because we're sick.
We got what we got.
Because we're sick. Right? Our fan base is sick. I don't even have to finish my thought. I can go to my next thought. We're sick. When you have a fan base who is literally starting, and you said it during your opening, literally starting to harass a player give up his jersey for another guy, and you got well-known Cowboy guys who's affiliated with this organization weighing in on it, doing shows on the jersey. Well, he should give the jersey up. He wore the jersey in high school. He wore it in college. Well, he never wore 2 before. He did this. Really, y'all? I just want to win.
I'm
I
guilty.
just
Give
want to
Caleb
win.
number 2, all right? Because what's going to happen is his money, right? He going to be in that 13. He going to wear 13 his rookie year. We ain't going to re-sign Kobe Durant. And then he going to be in the number 2 jersey. And then y'all all going to flood out and go buy the number 2 jersey anyway. Let's stop this nonsense. Jerry, you forced CeeDee Lamb. The man wanted to wear number 2 when he came in the league like he did at Oklahoma. And you forced him to wear 88. You forced it on it. So now, Jerry, you want to do something? We had to talk with Kobe, and we showed him why it's good, to give up that number 2 to Caleb. Rowdy was 0-0, so we had to work with Demarion Overshawn for a season before we can give him Rowdy's jersey. So we don't want to make the same mistake, and we're just going to make Kobe give up that number 2 to Caleb.
Even the thing with Rowdy was crazy because Rowdy is 0-0. Rowdy was this is
as I sprinkle more salt on my McGriddle sandwich.
This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the Hopamine. Listen, I want people to understand. I am the last guy to be talking about pessimistic. I've been super optimistic with this team
more than
forever.
Me.
5th week of the season last year. I'm on the phone. Dwayne, I believe they could turn it around. I will see something. They just made this trade for Quentin Williams. I know what he can do. Can he stop the run by himself? The guys are getting healthy. Look at Ravel. He's doing this. And you had to tell me, we're not just a bad coach team. We're a bad team. And just like the great content creators have said, and I can't remember who said it, but it's the truth. The communication problem wasn't bad. It was horrendous. What I mean by horrendous, you had one, the defensive coordinator says cover 3 hard. You got one cornerback making cover 3 hard. You got another cornerback playing cover 4. You got another one playing cover 6 palms. You got one playing a match zone. The disconnect from the coaches to these players last year. And you, Dwayne, you want me to believe it's changed in 4 months, 5 months?
I believe it has changed. I believe we flushed out that whole defensive system. Never in my life, I've been watching football since 7 years old, truthfully and honestly, since I'm 7 years old. So you're talking 1981. Never in my life have I seen a coach that just didn't give a damn. He didn't care what the head coach was saying. He didn't care what the front office was saying. Logan Wilson, who's that? I'm not playing him. I'm not playing him. You got him. I'm not playing him. And I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And there's nothing that you guys are going to do about it. That was Flus. That was Flus last year. He had no cares in the world. That man didn't have no cares in the world. Because as an organization, we go down the same road, right? We don't let our head coach be an overseer of the whole show, right? No, Shotty, you run the offense, man. Don't you say nothing to Eberflus about his defense. That's not your job. That's not right, man. He's the head coach. In actuality, I want Shotty to give the play calling over to Adams. I want him to be the manager of the team. I want him
because since you said it, Dwayne, I'm going to cut you off. Since you opened it up, I wasn't even going to mention it. Are we forgetting how hideous that special team was this year? Are we forgetting that? That's just getting swept under the rug. The coach just regard this guy. Sorstrom just did he did a job that was fire-worthy, but Eberflus matched him and said, I see you're worse. I'm going to be terrible, and I'm going to double down. Like, come on. So help me, Dwayne. Help me see it. Help me vision it. We're going to go through the depth chart of this defense, and you're going to help me. You're going to help me understand.
They're saying that we're going to be a base 3-4, right? We're going to be multiple, but we're going to be a base 3-4. With that being the case, if you're going to be a base 3-4, you need somebody at the nose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking what you're going to have is a combination of I don't want to mess his name.
Otto.
I think it's very important that we get people's name right. So I'm just going to say the gentleman from San Diego. We'll go with Otto. And God forgive me until I can get it right. I'm not going to mess it up. But I think he's your nose. I think Bullard is the nose with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your D's are, in this sense, your D's are Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams. You can't look at them as D tackles. Win the 3-4, right? So your outside linebackers are Easy and Rashawn Gary. Your linebackers, I think day one, if he's healthy, is going to be Overshawn and D Winners in the middle. And then on the outside, you're going to have Ravel and Bland to start. And your safeties to start, I think, are going to be Downs and Thompson. One way in the 3-4. I think that's the 3-4 defense. And then we'll talk about what it looks like at nickel and stuff. But I want you to give me what you think your 3-4 would be.
The 3-4 is going to be interesting with them running, because you think about what Christian Parker said about that nose tackle. He basically envisioned at first, before Adi got there, Otto, he said something in reference to Kenny Clark playing that nose tackle, which really what happened is, because they got the kid from San Diego, Otto, you move Kenny Clark into basically the 3-4 that's over the end, over the strong side end. And it's basically what most people would say the 3 and the 4-3, but it's over the strong side end there. And then you free up on the weak side Quentin Williams. So I think that the way that they're going to try to do it, it's going to be like a 3-4 odd front. I will say that front, that 3, and let's just say the other 2, right? Because face it, the other 2 will be on the line when you think about Gary and you think about Ezaraco. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you can run on that front 5 right there. That line. What I will give them is that he has shown them that even though he's considered a secondary coach, that he has fortified the front line. He's fortified the front line of defense. They really did a job. And then when you think about how they could rotate these guys in, most of these guys, and I even though I'm pessimistic, I have to be honest. Cowboy fans were a little crazy about your boy getting drafted, but his characteristic of getting drafted, his strength of getting drafted is earn the right to sack the quarterback, earn the right to rush the quarterback by stopping the run. This is a philosophy that's so embedded in Alabama players that you have no idea that you're never going to break out of this. When you come there to the University of Alabama, with how Saban started this legacy, is you got to earn that right. So this player, his strength is to stop the run. So now he's a backup guy who can play all over the line. Christian Parker got on the table for him and Malachi Lawrence, which is crazy interesting, right? So
who are you speaking of?
LC.
LT Overton.
LT, right?
Number 9.
I don't know why I said LC, but LT, right? So you don't know where this guy's going to be on the line. So then you think, and I know a lot of people get on about his undisciplined, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. They got Sam Williams basically on the league minimum, a year away from having that ACL tear. ACLs people don't heal as quick as they did. So you may think, okay, Sam Williams didn't do anything for us last year. Sam Williams played special teams. He was Sam Williams. He's a body per se right now, but Sam Williams, I believe, still have a little juice there.
Well, that's where we disagree. Mm-hmm. I don't think he makes the 53.
Okay.
I think Sam Williams' days is numbered. Just because of what they did in the draft, the type of players, who's he playing over? Like, Where is he playing? Are you considering him an edge that they're going to stand up at outside linebacker and rush? Are you saying he's going to be somebody that they use against the run? I just don't see where he fits. I like him. You know, I stomped on the table for Sam Williams when we drafted him. He has not developed the way that I would have liked to have seen him develop. I just don't see where Sam fits. And if you think about it, who's mentioning Sam's name other than you?
Well, I think him being so versatile is the reason why he will be
Versatile
able
to do what?
Well, he hasn't. I mean, Dwayne. When you think about it, right? Dwayne. When you really think about Sam Williams, and I know we will, as fans, blast his development, but the man has had 4 coaches in 4 years. He's had a new defensive coordinator every year.
So did the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had a different offensive coordinator.
And this is why a lot of people say this is why they say a lot of people he hasn't developed to the quarterback that they want. I'm not saying that's right, but I can understand why Sam Williams. We don't even know what position he plays, but I think that there's something there. Why they were so quick to re-sign him to that league minimum? He's not getting paid a lot of money, so I think it's And he might be that 54th man, like you said, with the other great player the Cowboys got, Maris Lowerfowl.
Next. Look at Sam Williams. In 2025, he had 17 games, 34 tackles, 1 sack. 2023, 17 games, 23 tackles, 4.5 sacks. 2022, he didn't play in 24, folks, because of the injury. 2022, 15 games, 20 tackles, 4 sacks. So he's 49 games, 77 tackles, and 9.5 sacks. But does he do well?
He's a body.
He's a camp body, folks. I'm sorry.
But Dwayne, let me ask you: that's the same argument that's the same argument that a lot of Cowboy guys have said about the big kid from San Diego. They looked at his stats and said, "What does he do?"
The Chargers, Los Angeles.
And I said the same thing. I said he's not there to do nothing but stop the run.
Yeah, but he's a little bit different because he's a nose tackle. Sam is an edge.
Is he?
Well, that's what they say he is.
He might just be a great special team guy.
That's what I'm saying. He may not make the 53. He may not.
So now you want to go into linebackers, right?
Yeah. Let's do it. Well, linebackers
or inside guys.
Traditional linebackers or CP's 3-4 linebackers.
CP's 3.
They're listed Rashawn Gary and Ezraku as linebackers, and they're linebackers in the 3-4, but to me, they're hand in the dirt defense.
Let's talk about CP's 3 linebackers in base. Inside linebackers.
It's going to be an interesting battle, right? You got a lot of bodies there, right? So you got Overshawn, who has to prove it, folks. I love him, but how often has he played? Let's take a look. I did it with Sam. Let's do it with Agent Zero. Let's look at his career stats. We got time. We're amongst friends here. Let's see. 2004, 13 games, 85 tackles. He had 5 sacks. Really good season. I said 2004, 2024. My bad. 2025, 6 games, 28 tackles, 0 sacks. So he's played in 19 games, folks. And we got to make a decision if we want to pick up his option after this year. Like, the potential is there. We all see it. It oozes. I loved him coming in. There's a short out there where you heard me during draft time when he got drafted. He was one of my favorite players, and he still is. But can I depend on him to be there all year? No, I can't until he proves it. He's so injury prone. Till he proves he can stay healthy, it's hard to fully depend on him. I hate to say that because I just love the talent. D. Winters, he's been good when given opportunity to play. When Fred Warner's gotten hurt, he stepped in. Last year, he played 17 games, had over 100 tackles. It was another year where Fred Warner got hurt and he had 10 starts. So I like D. Winters. But if you notice something about what the Cowboys want, they want people that's athletic, that's attacking, that comes up, hits, and finishes. Bye, Maris. You don't finish, sir. You got to go. So I'm not having you in my.
I think one of the things when you mentioned those two and then you went on to Maris is it was how quick they said Maris was an edge. They said Maris was an edge before the draft and during the middle of free agency, the middle of the first wave of free agency. And to say that quick was them telling you they don't think that he's big enough or good enough or a short tackler. And this is important that we always mention with Maris. Maris has a unique skill where he loves to punch the ball out. But the way that he punches the ball out, he gets behind the ball carrier. That means he's not taking the tackle head up. He's not being square when he makes a tackle. That means he's chasing the person. Side view.
You will never hear this coaching staff say about Maris Luafau what they said about Jay Sean Barnum. You don't want Maris Luafau in your Oklahoma drill. You don't want him going head up on somebody trying to tackle him. You just don't. You don't. You got the flying hair. Hey, man, he's a great special teamer. I think he could be a Rayan Thompson, a Joshua Cribbs, somebody that just goes down on special teams. A C.J. Goodwin, thankfully, we're done with him in the Dallas Cowboy uniform. Like, he could be one of those, So then you're talking about they also signed another linebacker from the 49ers, Robinson. So he's going to be in the mix. Of course, they drafted Barham. So he's going to be in the mix. So when we're talking about linebackers in this defense, I'm talking about the middle of the field linebackers. I'm not talking about Gary and Ezraku, and they're even saying that Lawrence is going to be a linebacker.
I want to mention something. And I know that we're semi. I'm not going to disrespect us or disrespect nobody, and nobody to take this or watch this and feel like they're disrespected. But this draft showed me that a lot of guys are not, Barham alone, showing me that we got to do better when we say we call ourselves draft guys. If you want to say that you're a draft guy and the Cowboys make a pick like Barham, who played in a big-time college, it was not like this guy was nowhere, who played at two big-time colleges.
Two Big Ten schools.
When you want to critique a draft or critique a player that your team drafted and you want to dub yourself as the draft guy, you should at least know that this kid only played edge his last year in Michigan. He was an inside backer most of his career. The reason why a great defensive coordinator like Wink Martindale would move him to edge would be to create havoc. Literally, Wink Martindale did for this kid what a lot of people, and Dwayne has mentioned it during the beginning of the show, what a lot of these coaches done what DQ did for Micah Parsons. You take a linebacker who can play in the inside, in the middle of the field, who they know can get the sideline to sideline, and you put them on the edge. Why? You may need to shift the protection schemes to create havoc. You may put them in the A-gap. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to say we have to do better as people who follow this team, people who say that we're going to follow the draft, to know that when the Cowboys make this pick, don't be like, oh, they drafted another edge guy. No, they drafted a football player. They drafted a football player. And when you heard them keep coming out and the head coach got to come out and say, we're going to play him in the middle, don't be so, And then when he has the banter that he had with Joe Hoyt, you should know that this is a player who you know that you may have to contain him from himself, who's a dog, who's a gamer. I get what people say that we want to make a fit, and I listen. I am the most pessimistic guy to date and ever when it comes to the Cowboys, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a draft guru and not see the fit. He's an inside backer. Do y'all realize? And I know that Fred Warner is the standard. Do you guys realize how small Fred Warner really is from a traditional linebacker?
I don't like getting into comparisons, but that is a good count. I've been watching Jayshon Barham since he started in high school at St. Francis in Baltimore, Maryland. I love high school football. I've been on the high school football scene on the East Coast, Northeast, if you want to say Mid-Atlantic for Maryland, for a lot of years. Started coaching youth football in 2003, just putting it out there, and he is a heat-seeking missile at the middle linebacker. He plays with an edge, and sometimes he plays on the edge. So sometimes you're going to have to rein him in. But, man, he loved this game. He loves this game. And I saw Gerald McCoy, shout out to Gerald McCoy, say that he feels that Barham is going to be the steal of the entire draft with the Cowboys getting him at 92. I was ecstatic, because I've seen his whole career, man. I've seen the last 2 years at Michigan, and I wasn't totally on board with moving him to edge. But when I consider everything that was going on in that football offices at Michigan, nothing surprises me from last year. I just think when you got somebody like Jayshon Barham and what he brings to the table, you don't limit that type of athleticism, that type of drive to one side of the field. You let that man be in the middle. And then guess what? He's my middle linebacker. Oh, my God, it's third down. They got him lined up rushing on the left side of the defense. Oh, my God, they got him dropping back into coverage. He may pick one. So that's what you want. His versatility is what makes him great. Can he get down there on pass rounds? And if you got a NASCAR package or what have you, and you want to rush him, he could do it. But he's the type of person I want in the middle of the field. And let me just say this, because this is the buzzword, and I look at Calvin Watkins, Clarence Hill, all these guys, they got a job to do. Joe Hoyt, Nick Harris, I get it. But I beg you all, I'm begging you. There's two things I want y'all to drop. Kobe Durant, give up the number 2. But I want y'all to drop that story. Any other story, please, for the love of God and everything. Stop with this green dot, please. 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 This man, first time, can we get into OTAs at least and let CP get people on the field and see what we got for y'all trying to lock this man down and shoddy down on who the green dot's going to be? 5 years ago, nobody even heard of the green dot or cared about the green dot. Now this is the most important thing. Who was the green dot or who wasn't the green dot made us the worst defense in football last year because we had the wrong person wearing the green dot? Like, stop it. This is where we become hated as a fan base by other people around the league because we talk about the flash. Now, I love
fair
Shotty.
use. Fair use.
Shotty, right?
Fair use.
Yeah. Look,
I be riding through my old hood, but I'm in my new whip. Same old attitude, but I'm on that new shit. They say they gon' ride me, see me never do shit, cause they know that's the reason they gon' end up on the news clip. Or tomorrow, my
that was not a good by Agent Zero.
We popping bottles like I scored a winning touchdown. Remember me?
Yeah, so you see what we talking about, right? So
that was our green dot last year.
And we're gonna stay on mission. We're gonna stay on mission. Because we are almost an hour in, and I'm loving the conversation. But yeah, linebacker, that's basically what you're looking at, right?
And another thing, like one of the things I just want to mention, and pardon me, Wayne, gamers. We mentioned this phrase. A lot of people always mention this about game. That's who D. Winters is. If you look at D. Winters, the Cowboys, what they did, They got a player that if you really, really understand how football is, it's not that the 49ers didn't want him. If you listen to some of those ex-players, they'll tell you what they feel about him. They couldn't afford him. So you basically invested in a player who probably is about to hit the peak of his career. It was an excellent pickup.
You know what Dean Winters is? Dean Winters is our Osa. We didn't want to get rid of Osa, but we couldn't justify having that much money tied in to defensive tackles, right? They brought back Greenlaw. They got Fred Warner coming back. They couldn't justify all that money and the resources that they were putting in the linebacker. Thank you. Listen, the Cowboys and the 49ers, the Cowboys and the Eagles, they become great trade partners, and I don't have a problem with it. Everybody talking about, we gave the Eagles lemon and da-da-da-da. Yeah, we did. But we also got 2 4th-rounders, which is helping us on the defensive side. If forgive me. If Overton gives us anything, right? He was a 4th-rounder. Who's our other 4th-rounder defense?
Shelton.
Huh?
Shelton.
Yeah, but we had another 4th-rounder. I can't think of who it is right now, but it was defense.
Oh, the cornerback.
Oh, yes. Moore.
Yeah, Moore.
If Moore and Overton gives us anything on the defensive side,
Who
said he was the best.
And let's segue. And told Jerry Jones that, and let's segue into secondary. Moore could possibly be this day one starter.
It's possible.
It's possible. Now we don't want that to happen because
I don't want it to happen. The one thing I'll say about Shoddy is he talks about competing. He got these guys competing in tiddlywinks. He got them competing in everything, putting. Knockout. You're coming in there. You're competing. It's one of the things I love about Shoddy. But so I think
as we segue, I want to ask you the question. I want to ask you the question before you segue into it. Is this the best safety room we've had in 30 years?
It's the best safety room we've had in a long time, right? Because there's another player that the Cowboys picked up in offseason that I loved, and I failed to mention him. I'm 50 minutes into the show. Forgive me for not mentioning PJ Locke III, because I think he is going to be a gem for us. So when you got Hooker, Thompson, Locke III, and Caleb Downs, hell yeah, we ain't had a safety room like this maybe ever. Honestly. Hopamine, honestly. And, if you're asking me, I think you're talking about 5 corners right off the bat. And then that 6th corner is up for grabs, right? So I think you got Bland, right? Ravel. You got Durant, right? You got Butler. You got Moore. I think those 5s is a lot. So then you got Kendrick. You got Carson. You got some other bodies to throw up there. And then you got Reddy Stewart. Reddy Stewart's making this team.
Who was probably the best defensive back on the team last year.
Reddy Stewart is making this team. So it's going to be an interesting battle between your Josh Butlers, your Kalen Carsons, your Reddy Stewarts. It's going to be very interesting, man.
And I'm a big Caleb Carson fan. And you know what, folks? I'm gonna tell y'all, he has done nothing for me to be a fan of his. He's basically been so inconsistent. But the one thing, and I'm gonna go back to what we said about Caleb Carson during the draft. The one thing that Caleb Carson is a very good zone corner. That's his strength. His strength is not man-to-man. So
still got Marquise Bell, still got Elijah Clark. Those guys are special teams demons. So I think, compete. It's not going to be easy to make this 53. And that's where my excitement comes from. The gentleman on the other side of the screen is pessimistic. I'm excited, right? Because think of what we said. Sam Williams, you got to compete, brother. Josh Butler, Carson, Marquise Bell, Elijah Clark, Reddy, Bridges, Todd's little nephew. They all got to compete, man. They got to compete.
I will say And I know we talked about the front line. We talked about the linebackers, and we know the vision of sideline to sideline and how they're going to get after it. But this is where I have a lot of optimism. Big fan of Malik Hooker. I know a lot of people say Malik's not going to be starting in base. Me and Dwayne basically believe that there are 13 starters on defense. So because defense doesn't dictate personnel.
Most
offense
are going to be in a 4-2-5,
yeah,
folks.
Yeah, offense dictates.
Man. You're going to have 3 safeties on the field.
Yeah.
You're going to have Malik on the field. You're going to have Thompson on the field. And you're going to have Caleb Downs on the field. Those are
and
three.
when you look at Malik's
and Caleb's going to be in the
strength,
so you're going to have 2 outside.
When you look at Malik's strength, when he was the prospect Malik Hooker, the healthy Malik Hooker, he was just put him in center field and let him do it.
He putting on that Ohio State 24 this year.
But Dwayne, the one thing that I did notice about this defense is when you look at, I'm going to name 4 players, right, on this defense, which is crazy. I'm about to say this. Caleb Downs, Locke, Reddy Stewart, Thompson, and Barham. So 5 players on their defense. That's 5 players on their defense. That will be 3 of them are going to get a lot of playing time. 2 of them are 4 of them a lot of playing time. Reddy Stewart probably be a rotational guy, right? Is this the most versatile back 7 that we've had where you got guys that could just play? You might see Caleb Downs basically playing a linebacker in a 5-1.
You know what is crazy about it? The Hopamine. We really don't know what Christian Parker going to do. Y'all can go back watching the Eagles from last year. Was he the defensive coordinator of the Eagles or was Vic Fangio? Y'all can go back, watch his time at Denver. Was he the defensive coordinator at Denver or was Vic Fangio? You can go back to his time in Green Bay. Was Mike Pettin the defensive coordinator or was it Christian Parker? When he was with Mike Elko in college, was Mike Elko running the defense or was Christian Parker? So I say all that to say this young man has great influences on defense. Now we finally get to see who he is. And the best thing that I heard him say, and we're not the Eagles defense. We're not Denver's defense or Green Bay's defense. We're Dallas Cowboys. We're the Dallas Cowboy defense. And we're building it in our likeness in a way. But what I do love about the philosophy, right? Because all we can talk about now is the philosophy. He wants people that are aggressive. He wants people that hit. He wants people that can go sideline to sideline. He wants thinkers, right? Eberflus ain't want nobody thinking last year. And that's why we were the way that we were. This is what this man wants. He wants aggressive ball players. And so that's where my excitement comes, right? Because I don't want to be 2014 Mike Nolan. I don't want to be 2025 Eberflus. I don't want to be sitting back and having to think like Zimmer didn't really push them in 2024. I want aggressiveness. I don't want to sit back on my heels. I want to attack. And I'm hoping that's what the CP defense is. Attacking in your face. We're going to dictate to you. We're going to dictate the tempo. We're going to dictate the pace. We're going to dictate everything. You ain't going to know what's coming on either down. That's what I want. And for me, one thing about me, and people will get to know us the more we do shows, and we're going to do more shows because we got something to bring to the table. One thing anybody ever knows about me, my favorite positions to watch is the secondary. I love corners and safeties. So Christian Parker has that love of corners and safeties. So I have the Hopamine with a capital H. But hell, put all of them letters in capital about what we're going to do, because last year it hurt me to my heart. Every time I'm looking at 7, looking at 28, where was you? 7, looking at 21, Where was you? Just
looking at six, taking the worst angles. Looking at six taking the worst angles in mankind.
You ever see that meme with all the Spider-Men and they show up and they all pointing? That was our secondary last year. The damn Spider-Man meme. What? Who? Where? I thought you were supposed to be there. Like if you're gonna be bad, as my man Q said earlier, all be wrong. If Evil Fools is calling a cover 2 and y'all all in 4, I would love that. But when all 4 of y'all in different coverages and not knowing what's going on and not communicating, damn the green dot. I want everybody communicating with each other, not just who got the damn green dot in their helmet.
So I'm gonna ask you an honest question with all the Hopamine that you got running through your veins.
Out of it.
Am I suffering?
I feel I'm drinking beer at 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, this is water.
I need to ask you a question. I need you to be serious with all that Hopamine you got in your veins. Am I suffering from PTSD from last year?
Oh, the problem is, man, for your whole life, all your life, since 1989, you've been the biggest advocate for Gerald Jones Sr., a.k.a. Jerry Jones. And last year, you really finally got heartbroken. It's like when I found out there was no Easter Bunny, man. My heart got broken, man. I like Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny. There's no Easter Bunny? No. So you was believing in Jerry, thinking he was the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny.
No, bust the budget. Bust the budget. It was bust.
We all in.
We all in. Yeah, bust the budget was this year. All in was last year. Yeah.
What's his other saying that's very uncomfortable? The glory hole.
The glory hole. Glory hole. We chasing the glory hole. What the? Like you using this analogy in sports, you know the first thing with all these testosterone men, the first thing you're going to think about when you mention glory hole. But anyway, bro.
And I want to just say this one last funny thing, right? So I got it on my DVR. I keep watching it. I gotta delete it. Today I will delete it off my DVR. But the documentary In the Pick is In, right? We see a change in the guard, folks. Y'all all sitting here about let Jerry cook. If one thing came out of that, Jerry just along for the ride now. This is Stephen and Will McClay's show. And you want to know, and then I'm going to be quiet and let my boy do what he going to do. Either we going to wrap it up or we going to keep going. You know what was the most, I don't know if I want to use the right word. I don't know if ironic is the right word. One of the most poignant scenes in that documentary is when Jerry reached over to Shotty and he said what he said to Shotty. He basically was implying, I'm the least of your worries, man. I want you to be the least of mine. Jerry Jones is 84 years old, folks. So I can't stand Jerry Jones. Full disclosure, man. My partner here will tell you that. But now I'm like, damn, that's my grandpops, man. Yo, like that's my dad. My grandpa was 82. My dad was 80 when they both left here. 82 and 80. Jerry Jones is 84. So as much as I've hated him when he first got the team in his 50s and his 60s and his 70s and his 80s, I'm going to do something that he always says in some of his interview, you got to have grace. So I'm going to give Jerry some grace. I'm going to knock him much.
One of the things, you know, we Cowboy Land, Adam Pacifica, Mickey Loomis' son, Kyle Loomis, not Jeff Ireland, a bunch of guys. It's a bunch of guys I can't remember their names. Have been helping Will McClay, awesome personnel department, allowing Steven to really have faith in them, and then Jerry basically turned the team over. And I have been a big Jerry guy because one thing I will say that I did learn about him is that he really wants to win. When you have a person who literally risked it all and then hit the algorithm of life, betting on himself and his vision, it's hard for them type of people, I believe, to let go of something so dear to them, so dear that they embedded their whole family. If you look at the grandkids, They are the next generation of ownership group. It is a sight to see. It's a sight to see when you really understand how the Cowboys make decisions. A lot of people have a narrative about meddling, but I don't think he's a meddler. I think he calls himself the final decision, and he lets people cook. And sometimes letting a lot of people cook is the problem. You saw how Steven said, "I'm in command," basically by saying, "All right, shut up." He didn't say quiet down. Shut up means shut up. That means your phone. That means the person next to you. That means your sister. That means your brother. That means you, dad. That means Will McClay. If you on the phone, that means shut up. That don't mean quiet down. And I really respect what Steven did. And I loved this draft. I loved everything about what we talked about, but I'm just not gonna put the Hopamine in my arm.
Okay, and I'm gonna close with my final Hopamine, and shout out to Bones Fossil's daddy, putting all my chips in the middle of the tape. And here is what I want to see. I'll give you 12 names, but this is what I want to see because I truly believe 70% of the time we're going to be 4-2-5. That's what I truly believe. And I'm going to give you 12 names. I'm going to give you 13 names because that's the number that me and Quentin Ford were talking about. So we're in a 4-2-5. I think the majority of the time we're in 4-2-5. I'm going to give you who I think the 11 people we're going to start off with and 2 rotational pieces, right? So, Ezeraku, Williams, Clark, Gary, your front 4. Winters and Overshawn. Bland and Ravel, right? Your 2 corners. And then Hooker, Thompson, Caleb Downs. With hopefully Malachi Lawrence in that as one of the 13, and then PJ Locke. You give me that. We're a playoff team. You give me that. We win the first round. You give me that. We're very competitive in the divisional playoffs. And with that, we have a good shot to be an NFC championship game. And that's as far as I'll take it.
I'm enthused with that 12, but I need to extend it to 13. I got to throw Barham in there too.
Well, that's extending it to 14.
Yeah, I think that Locke. I think that I want to be football respectful, and I want to be respectful for these 2 guys off the field. I think in training camp that they're going to realize that Barham and Locke together on a defense is not a good sight for your offense. I don't know if those 2 guys are going to be able to start, but I believe that if you put those 2 on the field together at any point in the game, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I believe you will see some yellow flags on the field. Not because they're undisciplined. I just think that Locke and Barham together are going to show people that physical football still exists.
Say that word that you usually say when you put highlights up.
Copyright, fair use.
Ask me the question again. What is your prediction?
What is your prediction?
Pain. Like
this guy's been watching Rocky 3 highlights. You know what's funny is that Dwayne brought up Rocky.
What are we waiting for?
And one thing I've learned about Rocky 3, and this is the weirdest thing about algorithms, when you mention that movie, you wind up seeing it come on TNT later or something. But look forward to it. And Dwayne, I know this is our football show. However, you wanted to talk about something that's trending and it's interesting, and we're going to put ourselves in it. We are sports talk, but we focus on our NFL. But the viral thing that everybody's doing, top 5 all-time NBA. You have your 5?
Well, listen, this is what happened yesterday. After Skip Bayless said he has LeBron ranked 9. Anyway, Nick Wright, who I like, shout out Nick Wright. He came up with his starting lineup, and his challenge was get your 5 to compete against my 5. And he had Steph Curry and Jordan in the backcourt. He had Kobe and LeBron as his forwards, and he had Shaq as his center. It's very, very, very interesting, man. So I tried to come up with one, and I came up with 4 real quick. I was struggling with the shooting guard, but I went Magic at the point, right? I went Larry Bird at my 3. I went Tim Duncan as my 4, and I went the Dream as my 5, right? And so I asked for my co-host here, can I put Kevin Durant at the 2? And he said yes. So there it is. That's what I'm doing. And I'm putting Durant and Bird on the team to counteract Steph Curry, because if you look at their team, pure shooter, they only got 1. Michael was a scorer, but I'm talking about pure shooter. But we still may come up short, because when you got Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant on the same team with that will to want to rip your heart out, that's a hard mentality.
And I decided to go in a whole nother direction. And this is the beauty about the basketball, the NBA, where you can go in a direction where somebody would be like, "Oh, you really wilded out. You disrespected me." I'm gonna go in a direction that's gonna mess everybody up. At the center, I'm gonna literally go with Dream, like you. At the power forward, I'm going to go with Tim Duncan. At the small forward, I'm going to go with LeBron.
No, you can't, because they had LeBron.
No. At the small forward, I'm going to go with Julius Erving. At the 2, and I know it's hard, but I got to get this 2. I really got to get the 2. The 2 and the 3 could be interchangeable, because I need some scoring. I need a guy. I'm gonna just say it, man. I'm gonna go with Klay Thompson, man. I'm gonna go with Klay because I need somebody that's gonna stretch. And he was a really good defender at one time, man. And I know that I can't reuse nobody, and I know people forget him as a point guard. My point guard is gonna be hailed from Chicago, played in Indiana, then played in Detroit. Zeke is going to be my point guard. Zeke's going to be my general.
Very interesting.
He's going to run around with Tim Duncan and just hang out and play, man.
Magic is my all-time favorite, so I'm always throw. But all joking aside, if you had to ask me what my starting 5 would be, not Nick Wright's, like combating his 5, my all-time starting 5 is Magic. At the point, MJ. At the 2, Bron at the 3, Tim Duncan at the 4, and Kareem at the 5. He has the most unstoppable offensive weapon in the history of the game, the sky hook.
One thing that I always said about the argument that I believe was the greatest barbershop corner man cave argument ever was the GOAT argument. I believe that argument was supposed to stay there, though. I believe that GOAT argument, once it became mainstream, it became really too much. Mm-hmm. Because one thing about the NBA, and Kevin McHale, who was a great power forward, said it. In a couple years, he said this after Michael Jordan retired the first time, and people didn't understand what he meant. He said in a couple years, people will be saying Jordan who? Because one thing about the NBA, we become slaves of the moment. And let's be honest, even Michael said it. You can't compare eras.
Can't.
You never know how these guys add up. So when you really look at it, when you think about guys and what they did in their time, I say Kobe Bryant is the facsimile of Michael. Mm-hmm. But then Kobe Bryant played and lost and was in the era with Tim Duncan, who also got 5 chips. People forget. Mm-hmm. But then They all played, and LeBron came out of nowhere. And then LeBron's the greatest or the second best. Hold up. Steph Curry played in LeBron's era and got 4 chips. So how was LeBron the greatest ever and somebody got 4 chips in his era? So it's very subjective. It's very who you like, what style of basketball you like. I do believe that the NBA needs to get back to playing the inside-out game instead of the outside-in game or outside layup game because they don't dunk really. They'll shoot a layup or a 3, but interested conversation going around, but appreciate you guys for joining us, having this Cowboy Hopamine thing, and like I said in the topic, the Hopamine has arrived. Built different or overhyped, and we're going to figure that out going forward. Mini camp's going to be starting, then training camp, and then going to go to the real deal. I do want one request, and I'll say it now about Shotty, is no veteran days in training camp. Compete. We all know the last 4 training camps, we do this inter-squad scrimmage with the Rams, and every year they say we get mollywopped during the scrimmage. I know it's a scrimmage, but it's a level of intensity that you have to carry from the classroom to the field to the actual games. Last year, what Shotty did and Evilfuss and them did, Kenneth Murray did not play not one preseason game, and he was the quote-unquote, as Dwayne said, the green dot guy. Then when he got on the field, let's be honest, y'all, Kenneth Murray athletically could athletically measure with any player. But when he got on the field, he was $1 short and a day late on every single. I've never seen a player in the history of football guess wrong every time.
And blame it on my mind and not my heart. There's a player I failed to mention. There's a player who I really, really was excited that we drafted him where we drafted him last year. And I was excited to see him get on the field. And I hope he finds a way to get on the field a little bit this year as well. And that's number 50, Shamar James. Would love to see him out there. I forgot him.
Led the team in tackles last year, you guys. With that, take care. Remember, the best way to support what we're doing is to like, share, subscribe. Look forward to more NFL, more sports, more Cowboy content going forward, at least probably 2 times a week. Just check us out. The best way to get the notification is to hit that bell. Get it. Thank you guys for supporting what we're trying to do.